Go time.
Let's change the banners.
You want me to go live or no?
There we go. We're live.
There we go.
People are going to probably file in here shortly.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. My mic's over here.
Early start.
Yeah, one person's on. Tony Bennett Day,
Indeed.
Georgia Tech pregame show. Welcome, everybody. I'm TW Fresh. We got Have joining.
We all never waited for.
I know. I tried so hard to go. I had booked the flight. Everything was ready, and I had to cancel last minute. But it is what it is.
Cancel. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's also the basketball alumni annual game too. So I don't know how many people will be there. I haven't heard much.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people in the house today. I think Ty and Dre are sitting courtside in Phil's seats. I think Grant was with them. Who else? Jack Salt, I think, is with them.
Oh wow!
I know.
Where's Jack Bates? Is he home? Is he in New Zealand?
He's in New Zealand. Yeah, I think Evan Nolte made the flight up there. Yeah, it's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, for all those guys, it's a big deal, and it'll be a big deal for Tony to have them for sure. Much bigger deal than if I was there, probably. TW. Yeah, I would have brought all the fun, but that's okay.
No, I'm a fly on the wall there, but it's still cool to see. But couldn't make it happen. I'm definitely jealous of those that are there, but it should be fun.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts? What do you think about the day today for these guys? Like it's probably, I think Elijah said, there was a quote where Elijah said, they're just going to soak it in. And he thinks some people are going to be happy. Some people will be sad. Some people will be mad on the team.
Yeah, I think these things you never know till you get there. I was trying to think about it. Coach Holland left after my first year. I don't remember if he was ever at any games for the next 3 years, but once you start getting better and you're improving, whether it's practice or, you kind of want to, if your coach is there, you sort of want to show him your coach who was the coach, you want to show out. I think you have a little extra energy. Probably it would be my guess with all these guys. I think they're going to be really happy he's there. Maybe sad afterwards seeing him, all that stuff. But I think that it'll give them a kicker on the court to kind of want to, play hard, play for him a little bit, which makes sense.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, it's definitely not going to feel like just any other game.
Yeah.
Also, Georgia Tech is probably like, what? Why is everyone here for this game?
Yeah, they probably don't even know, right? It's probably
they're walking into it. They're walking into a wasp nest here. They're just like,
I heard
UVA team.
Josh Burton's at Ralph's pregame, and this is like 2 hours ago. He said there was like an hour and a half wait to get in there. So if that's telling of what's going on around JPJ, that's a good sign.
That's super cool. I'm glad to see it. TV deserves it. I know a lot of people are upset at the way it went down or whatever, but who cares? Like, this man did.
Yeah, it's a day to get past that for sure.
Yeah, like
I wonder about TV. Like, what's his day been like? Does he really want to do it? Is he embarrassed? Is he?
I'm sure
he'll probably be more excited than he realized.
Yeah, he probably does not want to do it, and then he's going to get here and he's going to love it. That's my guess.
Yeah, I think so too.
Right? Like, he definitely does not like the spotlight.
No,
I don't think they gave him much choice, but my guess is the staff was like, hey, in case we're not all here next year, let's do it this year. And then they planned it. That's my guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a great something I hadn't thought. I wish they would have waited a couple 2-3 years or whatever, but that's a good point. He has a chance to do it with his boys and meaning his staff and, get a bunch of players back. And because of who the staff is now, players will be more apt to come back, right? Than if it's not Ron next year, 2 or 3 years later, and Jason and everybody. So all those guys, it'll be a little bit of a big reunion, is my guess.
Yeah,
for all the Tony Bennett era players and staff.
Totally, it's pretty cool. I will say, I hope they have a big celebration. But then there's the game to focus on. You think UVA will come out a little more focused and locked in? Is that your guess?
Sure. Yeah, I think so for sure. I don't think normally these things when you're playing the pregame kind of shenanigans and maybe if they announce Tony pregame or whatever, that doesn't really affect the players as much as you may think. But I think they'll be focused and ready to go. And hey, our coach is definitely watching us tonight. It's his night. Let's get it done.
Yeah, I think they're doing the banner at halftime.
Is it? I have no idea.
I think it's halftime, but I don't know. I think they just released the video. Yeah. They released the video that was really good. So we'll see. Maybe they do that pregame, but I think they're doing a bunch of things for him, which is really cool. I mean, fingers crossed, statue, and I guess the banner makes sense, but name the court after him. His signature on the court would be really cool. I don't know.
Yeah, I like the signature on the court. I don't like the statue, but that's just me. Statues just, I don't know. They just, unless it's just a total Bill Russell, Michael Jordan icon. I don't know. They just never seem to come out
more
right.
Player focused. Yeah, that's fair.
I just think they just never seem to really come out right. And there's a cool Red Auerbach right in Boston where he's sitting by the garden, kind of just sitting around.
You don't like the Dwayne
Wade? It's hard to get a statue right. That's the thing.
Did you see the Dwayne Wade one?
Well, I mean, you took it right out of my mouth. Exactly.
The Allen Iverson one too. The AI one is like a tiny. It's like a 3-inch statue. It's like what?
Yeah. Came up to like his waist or something. I think it's a hard thing to do. We talk about Mount Rushmore and these type of things. I don't know. Put Tony Bennett as the next guy on Mount Rushmore. I'd take that.
Yeah, I agree. He deserves whatever they're going to do for him and more. So I'm glad they're doing something, and I'm glad they're doing it this year. So it'll be fun. I can't wait to hear the stories afterwards. But what is a Tony Bennett story that you have meeting him, talking to him?
Yeah, that's thinking about the highlights or whatever. I always go back to the first time I met him, and I knew about him because he was such a great player in college and he played in the NBA, and he's a year older than me or whatever. But he was the new coach, and I had zero opinions. I didn't know he was the coach of the year in Washington, all that stuff. And I was back during the summer. My kids were doing soccer camp. So this is probably 2011. It's definitely 11 or 12, probably 12 is my guess. And, they're having practice during the summer. Jason says, come in. Me and my buddy are watching practice. And every single coach during practice, they all came over and spent 2 to 5 minutes. What's your name? Okay, you play with Jason. Your kids are here. And then Coach Bennett, I don't remember if he was the last one to come over or just in the mix of guys. But man, he just had that immediate impression on me. Like he actually seemed like he cares, not a fake caring. Wasn't big time, wasn't like welcome to my team. It was like, oh, you played here with Jason. I've heard about you. He just made, I felt like I've been part of the team the entire time. Yeah. And that's probably the best I can say. And that, selfishly, that's been very important to me.
No, that makes sense. I mean, he does. He's a very welcoming, humble, like genuine person. You feel it right away when you talk to him. He's just like super nice. We got have Chris Havlicek joining. We were just reminiscing on our Tony Bennett day.
Oh yeah, big day.
Yeah, it's bittersweet kind of thing. But we were saying we're glad it's this year, so all of his staff is here and they can all celebrate with him. My guess is that's why they wanted to rush and get it out this year while everyone's here and not do it when in 5 years down the road where everybody's all over the map. So I don't know. That's a speculative.
Yeah, TW is always unemotional and makes more sense than me and you have. I was mad they were doing it this year, but that makes too much sense actually. So I
think it's efficient for everyone to have it this year. I think the good parts of it are it allows, I think, the people to turn the page, which is great. On the other hand, I think it'd be really cool to go back there in like 2 years and see everybody again. So I see it both ways. Were you guys talking about your Tony Bennett stories when I joined?
Yeah, I was just asking Fresh, what was his Tony Bennett story?
Yeah, I have one, and it's really my only one. I've met him a couple times, 2 or 3 times, but the first time I met him I was connecting through Atlanta, and flying somewhere, somewhere exotic like Charlotte or Columbus, Ohio. And Tony was on the flight, and I knew him. He didn't know me, so I introduced myself, and he immediately recognized that, okay, I did play there. I played there with Jason. He asked me a bunch of questions. It wasn't like he was trying to, kind of get on to the next thing. He was genuine and sincere, and I joined the chorus of millions to regale him for all of his manners and his just being such a good guy. He was engaged. He asked me some questions. He asked if I played for Coach Holland. I said, yeah, that was my redshirt year. He knew about the team. Very engaged guy. So that was great. The other times I met him were in more formal settings, where he was cool and everything, but I got to spend some minutes with him there. So that's mine, and we'll move on. T-Dub, you had about 150 Tony Bennett moments?
I don't know about that, but no, every time I met him, he's same, just very genuine and nice. And like, met him originally there was a I think it was his first year when we had Joe Harris as a first year guy. Met him in Seattle, and there was like an meet the alumni in the coaching staff event, and I went to it, and just hung out with him for like hours and hours. It was amazing. So it was like his first year here, and I really got to know him and Ronnie Weidman and Jay Willie and the whole staff. So ever since then, they just brought me in like family. It's been kind of unbelievable. I mean, they knew my story as much as I loved UVA, and I think they saw, obviously we're a terrible team out of the gate, and we were traveling to all the games, and they just kind of wrapped their arms around us and brought us in. It was amazing, And
when you're around him outside of a practice or whatever, all he cares about is you, like what you know about things, what's going on in your life. He probably asked what's he doing for work that time, and sat with me and a buddy. And when Jason, we were in Brooklyn at the AAU thing, we all went to lunch. And, I'm trying to, talking about trading on Wall Street and things like that. And he was just fascinated. Of course, my buddy just wants to ask him a million college basketball questions. He's a huge fan, but he really makes you feel like, you're part of it, which is good stuff. It's hard to exactly the way both you described it.
Well, the second time I met him, I was in Sao Paulo, involved in a shady back alley poker game, and Tony was there. No, just kidding. Things you'll never hear. Things you'll never hear.
He's amazing. And like more recently, he sent me a nice text, and talked about the Phony Bennett campaign we're running, and he's going to participate in it. So he's sending some stuff in that I'll put on the auction, which is incredible. I think the shoe, he's going to sign some shoes. I don't know if it's the ones he's going to wear for the banner raising thing, but look out for that. That's cool. Like he's a special human being. Even outside of the basketball stuff, the impact he's had has been incredible on my personal life, which is, I think after he retired, I sent him a note saying that remove the basketball stuff, and the impact you've had on my life is probably greater than almost anyone I've ever met. So I had to thank him for that. Just having you guys here and talking, it's all ties back to him. So
it does.
I thanked him for that, and of course he's very gracious with all of it, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm gonna jump. I'm taking little B's got a game, nice. Warriors game, so we're gonna take him, and then I'll watch the game there. But you guys enjoy. Right, I think there's a game today. I don't know if you know that. Is it Georgia Tech?
Yeah, we got a game actually. Once we get through all the pomp and circumstance, Fresh, there's actually
packed in here. All right, you guys enjoy. I'll talk to you a little bit.
I don't see I'm not seeing the comments. What's going on here? Oh well. Go ahead, run with this thing. We got a game at 5.
All right. 5. Yeah, we actually play a game. There's going to be a lot of pomp and circumstance, as we say, and honoring Tony, and there's lots of emotions. Hey, we're the right guys to talk to, Fresh. We went through a similar thing, which was Terry Holland's last game, which was full of the same kind of things, some ceremony, some speeches, all that. And do you remember? I had to look it up. Do you remember that game?
I remember us being on the court, and I remember the game. I don't remember who we played or what part of the season it was in or anything like that, but I definitely remember us kind of having the ceremony type thing. It was post game. I remember that much, right?
Yeah, there was some stuff that happened at I remember at halftime because he wasn't I don't know, he had to go on TV, but we'll save that for post game where we can kind of break down.
I just assumed anytime we were doing one of those kind of ceremonies, it was because Brian Stith was getting some award, because that's just usually what happened when we were playing. Like he broke another record, or was getting his jersey retired or something.
There was a lot going on for sure. Jen Clifton entered the room. Give it up for JC.
Why am I not seeing these? This is bothering me.
It's just one of the many technical glitches that you have going on.
It's unbelievable. Can you just can you click on those things so I can see the comments?
They rotate. They rotate there.
Here.
Are you back? All right, let's
I'm
talk.
Here. I just can't see the comments.
You'll be all right. You don't need to see the comments. Let's talk about the team. Let's talk about the team a little bit. It sounds, well, I don't know. I haven't seen because we've been on air, but is Saunders back? It was speculation. Is he back? Do we know?
I haven't heard one thing about it at all. I saw his dad had a really cool post on Twitter just talking about other guys and the, kind of their contributions and how they played, and maybe whether it was a day or I think it was somebody else. I can't remember. Talking about Tane last time when he's allowed to play free and not look over his shoulder. His dad's been very positive, which is cool because his son has, been hurt and not playing. But I think it goes back to kind of the what these guys and their families are kind of made of. And I'm sentimental. I like that stuff. By the way, it seems like we played about a month.
We're getting words. Right? We're getting notice. He's coming off the bench, so that's good. Dragon made a good comment. He said Georgia Tech and Fresh are not friends. Is that like Dragon poking you a little bit, or is there some deep-seated hatred like I have irrational hatred for some teams?
Me and Georgia Tech are not friends?
That's what Dragon said.
I will say Georgia Tech had the most annoying contingent of white dudes who were walk-ons when we played. And they would always be over. They never played in the game. They were all walk-ons, and they just talk an incredible amount of shit sitting behind Kenny Anderson or Dennis Scott, or, it goes on and on. That's I never really had a problem with Georgia Tech. I like their players. They were all decent guys, it seemed like. I don't know. I grew up a little bit with Malcolm Mackey, if you remember that name, out of Chattanooga.
Oh, sorry. Dragon was talking about actual tech, like technology. He was saying you're not friends with technology. Okay, so all right, we'll clear that up. Yeah, let's think about. So our first year Fresh, we played Georgia Tech in the ACC final. Great team: Kenny Anderson, Dennis Scott, Brian Oliver. What's the big dude's name? Matt.
Matt Geiger.
Matt Geiger. Dude, they had like four or five NBA dudes on that team. We lost in the final to them, but they kept it going. They were good when we were there. I think the highlight of our Georgia Tech time was when we beat Georgia Tech at Georgia Tech on Brian Stith's. Kind of like fumbled the ball, just rose up and made a shot. And that was, as we know, the NTV BF, which we won't talk about, but it can't be talked about on air. But
let's just say wherever Bryant went, have chased him down from behind the entire length and circumference of the basketball
there was
court.
some tackling going on and
Bryant just trying to get away. But what's
they've had great players though. Like when I think of Tech,
you just named them. Yeah.
No, and I'm just talking before. I mean, you look at guys like we just talked about. You talk about Mark Price, a little bit before us. You talk about
Roselle,
Stephon Marbury. Matt Harpring, who was like scary good. Matt Harpring became scary good. The Berries were very good there.
All the Berries were good. James Forrest, right? Wasn't James Forrest after?
Oh, yeah.
The first year about last year. Ivan Newville was a nice player.
He's got one of the most famous buckets in Georgia Tech history. The good news for us is this year those guys are not walking through the door. But the bad news for us is they're playing arguably their best basketball of the season. Someone today on Forum put down, since January 18th, they're playing like a top, I think, 40 or 50 team in the country from a metric standpoint. Stoudemire is a really good coach. What do you think of him? I know you've watched him for a couple of years now. You like Damon?
Yeah, just old school, uber talented, uber tough point guard, right? Lefty. He's not going to be out toughed, I don't think. He challenged those guys. He probably hates transfer portal. He probably hates NIL. Probably makes the guys do suicides every day. But they have a really good point guard. Don't forget. Was his last name Smith last year? They had a freshman point guard who's a matchup nightmare. He's kind of like a Marcus Burton light, so to speak, right? He's not quite as good as Marcus probably, but he was a problem for us last year. I don't remember a lot else about their team, but I remember they were tough, and they always have some long guys and some skilled bigs and that type of thing. But I've heard they've been playing really well. Have not seen 1 second of them since we played them last year.
Well, that's good prep for the podcast, for sure. Just kidding. We're that guy McCollum's out. He's really good. He is ruled out for the game. They came out with it and said it. So, Nathan George, really good player. He's a sophomore. That's who you're talking about. 11 points a game. McCollum is out, 6'2" guy. Lance Terry, 6'3". Their top scorer at close to 16 points a game. Baye Ndongo, I believe you say it. He's their 12 points a game. And then they've been starting, I guess, Ibrahim Soiree, who's a freshman, who's not averaging a lot, but they have a transfer from Sacramento State, Dwayne Powell, who averages about 11. I think they're one of those teams, Fresh, where they've got a bunch of really good players. They've got a bunch of good players. They've got a couple really good, but it does they can withstand an injury, maybe kind of like we can a little bit. Saunders has been out. Rhodey's been out with different things. We have enough depth, particularly at the wings and guard position. I kind of feel like they're the same way, but he's got them playing really well. And I think we're not at the point where we can relax and say to ourselves, all right, we're in the ACC tournament, which, by the way, is such a low bar for us. I haven't gotten behind that movement, really. If we don't make it, we don't make it. I'd rather see them, really, really play aggressively and try new things than, just try to sneak in because I don't think does it matter? Yeah, I guess it matters to fans who want to go to the ACC tournament. You're not going to go if your team's not in it. But on the recruiting trail, if you had a bad year and you missed it and you've been in the circumstances we've been in, that's no different than going in as a super low seed and getting smoked early on. So I'm less concerned about that. I was really encouraged, like I think everyone was, with the Pitt game and how we played freely and we played aggressively with the lead, which hasn't happened in a really, really long time. Guys weren't scared. Guys were shooting. We rebounded really well. We actually boxed out. I hope to see that to continue today. But on a game like today, Fresh, where so much of it is emotional, right? There's the actual game and the game plans are going to happen, but there's the emotional thing of Tony and honoring him. And do you think they alter anything they're doing based on the fact that it's it's a Tony day?
I do, and me and TW hit on it early before you got on. I think whenever your old coach is back to watch you play, you're going to have a little more energy, right? These guys are going to want to impress the coach. They're going to want to show him they've gotten better. They're going to want to show him there's a reason you recruited me and paid me NIL money and all this. I think him being there and being a big focus of the game whenever that comes sounds like it might be at halftime, so they probably won't even see it. But they're definitely aware it's going to be a huge crowd. There's going to be energy. I think the place is going to be rocking. So, something about the Pitt game I found interesting. Sorry, because I want to hear your thoughts on this with the coach coming back. It looked like we abandoned. You're talking about.
Oh, wait, 2 is on. We see 2 in the chat. I just saw him. Hey, 2, just so you know, it's hard to do the podcast and read all the chats, but thank you for joining too. It's good to have you back. Welcome back to the family. You're not getting out of here without us coming back to you. So, all right, keep going.
Yeah, too. No, it's just like the Pitt game. It showed like we abandoned a lot of the things. We were switching stuff where Dante was guarding bigs, etc. I think we realized, maybe Ron and staff are realizing we got to just stop being married to pack lines, stop being married to, these things. To your point, just playing good enough to get into the ACC tournament would just be an absolute disservice, right? Let's just play to play. Let the chips fall where they may, that type of thing. I think I felt like we saw that at Pitt, and the guys opened up and played, Day. I mean, my gosh, hitting from everywhere and just playing his game offensively and defensive. I think his defensive job that day was overshadowed. He was so good on offense. But what was I saying? Anyhow, I want to hear what you think about the coach coming back and it's Tony Bennett day and these things.
Yeah, I think I largely agree with you. Under normal circumstances, there would not be a interim / part of the old, team coach there, or part of the old staff there. It'd normally be a new guy, and they want to honor the old coach and all that, but they're doing their thing. I think it's different for Ron. Like, I think if Ron could script this in his head, he would be like, we're going to play the lowest possession, slowest, least turnover game ever, and we're going to win 48-42. And I think if he could write it out like that way, he would. But maybe, just maybe, he says, no, you know what? Let's roll. Let's ball. Let's play like we did at Pitt. I think that's what he'll do. It's just an unusual situation with the existing staff being there on a, honor the coach day. So I hope the guys go out and play freely. I was laughing at all the stuff about do we play better without Saunders? Definitely not.
Right.
We had a good game that I think even the coaches had a hard time kind of understanding why it happened and how it happened. But what was interesting was the energy. Ron talked about the energy and the upbeat attitude before the game that maybe had been missing from the locker room. Maybe they found their joy again. But let's hope it goes off. I can tell you one thing. Any opposing team coming into those type of games wants to ruin it for the home team. They want to ruin homecoming. They want to ruin the celebration of whatever they're celebrating, the opponent. We played in some games. There was one, I think they honored Valvano. We played fresh at NC State. And there was a lot of – all it really means for the players is you spend a little more time in the locker room, half times longer. And there's the bus after the game, everyone sticks around a little bit longer because there's heavy media presence. But anyway, all right, let's get down.
When you're playing and you're in these games, you're all about the game. You're not the stuff going on around it or this or that. It's not really – it just doesn't play that much into, the performance, I don't think.
No, I agree. But I do know that when as a visiting team, when you play in environments like that, you have motivation to ruin that event for them. That's just how athletes are wired.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you just want, leave the balloons in the rafters, no fireworks.
Yep.
Let's kick their ass and get out of here. And
zero pressure. It's just fun. It's all fun.
All right, let's get into predictions. We got about a minute.
You know what? I think we've been scoring more. I think we're going to score more for us. I'm going to go 75-70 Who's. I don't know what the lines are. I have no idea. I'm sure we're favored by 3 or 4 or 5 or something, but I have no idea. I'm just going to go 75-70 Who's.
Huh. I was actually thinking along the same lines.
You can say the same, huh? It's okay to be right for once.
I'm gonna take the same philosophy, but because it's a special day, I think they're gonna lock down a little more on D. I'm gonna go 70-68 Who's.
Okay, 70-68, tight one.
Yeah, tight one. I don't know if T-Dub left his prediction, but
he did not.
All right, let's go to comments real quick. We got a couple minutes. Oh, it's -2.5.
Oh, wow.
Who's favored by 2.5? Guys, just so you know, too, like the comments come in kind of chunky. Like you get like 10 at once. They don't typically like just, at least for me, they don't typically like drift in slowly. So if we miss a comment, we're not ignoring you. We're just not. Oh, Dave Anderson, AKA Dave the Wave. Who's by 12? He likes it. He's feeling the flow.
Who's by 12?
Dave right now is outside playing with his abacus and getting ready for the halftime show, which
that's right.
Get him on.
Advanced analytics only.
Saunders warmed up and seems he's back, not starting. Okay, that's good. I think whenever you come back from something like that, it's good to kind of like
you got to ease back in.
You got to ease in, and it also, the real reason to do it is because it doesn't disrupt the person who's been playing in front of you. Like that's, that if that guy's been
the last thing you want to do unless it's Bryant's. Yeah, you got to go with what won the last game, and we're on a winning streak, even though it's only one. You got.
Yeah, you could actually argue. You could actually argue it's easier to start the game because you warm up with the other players. Coming in midstream, everybody's warm is hard, but hey, he's going to be good. He's a big part of what we're doing. Oh, WFS who deep in the bourbon early on Saturday night. Who's 100? Georgia Tech 52. TJ has 30.
Oh,
WFS.
TJ Power with 30. I want to go the Chris Havlicek meter over under Tane and or Blake to the deck diving on loose balls tonight. That's my new favorite thing. Even Tane occasionally, we love Tane, biggest fans, but there was one time when he was the only guy in the area and the ball was like, 2 or 3 feet away. Instead of just going and getting it, he just dove straight on it. I think it was phenomenal. Nobody else around.
Yeah, Tane's skin has somehow grown resistant to floor burn. He doesn't get it. That's why he can dive around like a Cirque du Soleil acrobat. I'm going to say the over-under on dives between Tane. Who else did you say?
Blake. Big Buck has done it quite often as well.
I'm going to go the white guy trio: Tane, Blake, Rhodey. Dives, I'm going to set it 4.5.
I like that line.
And I'm going to take the over.
I'm going to take the over tonight because Tony's in the building. Where's Tony going to watch from? Probably in the suite again with Carla, probably that area. He won't be in the Gen.
I think you're right. I think they probably asked him if he wanted to sit courtside, but that probably felt like he was too close to Ron. I think he's going to.
That would actually be interesting, right? Because it sounds like Ty and Dre are going to be in Phil Wendell's seats, according to TW. Maybe Coach Bennett wants to go with them and watch the game, right? Spend some time.
I think he's going to be up in the warm confines of the seat where he can escape escape the glare a little more easily of the spotlight. But all right, it's 5:31. Going to the CW, one of the top sports programming networks, and gosh, the Galaxy. Maybe the Galaxy. Yeah, it's on the CW. All right, Coach Bruce, we'll be back at halftime. Tony Bennett, let's get a W.
Go Hoos.